I've been testing the OnePlus Buds 3 every day over the last 2 weeks, and the fact you can get these under $100 is insane. So today I'll be comparing them with the best of the best in 10 categories. They're going head to head with Buds even 4 times their price, and they hold up so well. And yes, I'll be directly comparing them to the OnePlus Buds Pro 2 throughout the video because there are actually a lot of small differences. I'll also have direct comparisons at the end with the Soundcore Liberty 4 NC, Nothing Ear 2, and a lot more. Or you can just use my custom scoring spreadsheet linked below, but I'll talk about more of that later. But let's start with category number 1, comfort. Now the Pro 2 fit me perfectly, a super light and secure fit, and the Buds 3 ergonomics are pretty much exactly the same, but when I first put them in my ears, something felt a little bit different. And as you can see here, the driver shaft is more shallow, so on the Pro 2, I could use it medium ear tips fine since it's a slightly deeper fit, where on the Buds 3, I need to use the larger ear tips. And this affects the sound quite a bit, but I'll talk about that later. But to conclude here, it's just great comfort, slightly better than the Pro 2 due to that more shallow fit, so they're getting a score of 8.5 out of 10. It's just a super light feel in the ear. I can wear them for hours with no discomfort, although if you do have slightly smaller ears than normal, you might prefer a Bud like the Nothing Ear 2. It's a little bit more compact, and that's the thing about scoring the fit. It's just how they fit me, so it's gonna be different for everyone. Now the next category is security of the fit. And I'm giving the Buds 3 a score of 8 on par with the Buds Pro 2. And the Buds Pro 2 have been my go-to training earbud over the last year. So the Buds 3, for me, on par with security. Both the Buds I can just leave in and rarely need to readjust with any exercise. Squat, bench, deadlift, leaning over for rows, clenching my jaw through those hard sets. The Buds barely budge out of place, no way they're gonna fall out. And they also work great when running, as do most stem style earbuds, so you don't get too much body-borne noise reverberating through the ear tip. Now, if you generally find stem design earbuds don't work well for you, you might prefer a pair like the Bose QC Ultra or QC2, or even something like the Soundcore Sport X10 that has a wingtip for that extra security. But I also grabbed this extra kind of elastic rope attachment. You can attach the earbuds and turn it into a neckband style if you want. It cost me a couple dollars on AliExpress. And if you like using your earbuds when training, the Buds themselves have an IP55 dust and water resistant rating. Now onto the next category, case and battery life. And I gotta start by saying how nice this blue is with that metallic finish. You might not be able to tell on camera, but in person, it looks nice. I like my blues. I like my greens from the Pro 2, but the blue takes the win. And I love seeing that OnePlus is giving you all the advertised amounts with noise cancelling on, noise cancelling off, LHDC. You can see it all there on their website. So with noise cancelling on, you get 6.5 hours with the Buds and 28 hours in total with the case, which is slightly more overall than the Pro 2. Fast charge is a bit slower, so you chuck the Buds in the case for 10 minutes, you're gonna get 2 hours playback compared to the 3 hours you get on the Pro 2. And you aren't getting wireless charging here. They did have to cut costs somewhere, and I think this is the best area to cut costs. I've never used wireless charging myself, but if you need it, it's not here. You also don't get the IPX4 water resistant rating on the case that the Buds Pro 2 have. But the Buds 3 case overall is slightly smaller, but it is slightly thicker than the Pro 2. So I've currently got the Buds 3 ranked 5th in my overall thin ranking. And here it is compared to the thinnest case, the AirPods Pro 2, and the thickest case, the Sennheiser Momentum 3. So I'm giving them an overall score of 7. Again, it's a much cheaper Bud compared to the rest of them on this ranking. Now the next category is controls. And my biggest complaint with the Pro 2 was the lack of any volume control. That's why I scored them a 6 out of 10. A little bit harsh, but volume control is pretty important and every earbud has it today. So this is completely fixed with the Buds 3 because you get a swipe gesture to increase or decrease your volume. You also get a single, double, triple tap, and long hold on the touch controls. So you don't get the squeeze controls that the Pro 2 had, which would have been a really nice combo to have squeeze controls and that swipe gesture, because sometimes I would go in for a swipe and my hands might be kind of like sweaty or sticky, and I'll kind of do a miss swipe with the single tap. But you do have a lot of customization, so you can turn the single tap off, but I do like having it on to quickly play or pause your music. That is the only option you have with the single tap, and the long hold is locked to the noise cancelling toggle, but you can add noise cancelling off to that cycle. The double and triple tap have track control, voice assistant, or game mode. But here's where they take the controls to the next level, because on that swipe gesture, you can also set that to skipping tracks forward and back. So you kind of have two options here. If you want to be able to control everything, including volume up and down, when you're using one earbud at a time, you can control everything. Or you can set one earbud to volume up and down, the other one to track forward and back with the swipe gesture. Then you have more freedom with your other customization. You also get wearing detection here to automatically pause and play your music when you take one or both earbuds out. Takes about 2 seconds for the music to pause, but it's pretty instant when you put the bud back in your ear. And when you're using noise cancelling and you take one earbud out, the noise cancelling will switch off in the earbud that's in your ear. The Buds Pro 2 didn't do this. And OnePlus don't advertise that the wearing detection uses skin detection. The only earbud on my ranking that has skin detection is the AirPods Pro 2. So you can take one earbud out, put it in your pocket, and it's not gonna think the earbud's in your ear. And the Buds Pro 2 and Buds 3 also do this. So taking all of this into account, I'm giving them a score of 9 out of 10 because all the other earbuds that use a swipe gesture have a minimal amount of customization, where with the Buds 3, it's the first bud with swipe gestures to give you solid customization. So the Buds 3 are the new king of controls. There you go. Now onto the next category, connectivity. And you're getting Bluetooth 5.3, SBC, AAC, and LHDC high res. You don't get LC3, which the Pro 2 had, but not a massive loss. Now to activate LHDC high res, you obviously need a phone with LHDC. I quickly grabbed myself a Nothing Phone 2 just to test it out for these earbuds. Now feel free to go down the rabbit hole that is streaming high res audio over Bluetooth. But basically on Android, you need to use Tidal that supports 24-bit 96 kilohertz, which is the maximum that the Buds 3 can stream at. Most other apps will downsample to 48 kilohertz, but then you need to go into your developer settings and make sure it is set to 24-bit 96 kilohertz, because by default, at least on my Nothing Phone 2, it's not going to be set to that. Then make sure the earbuds are only connected to one device and turn on extremely high audio quality, which is going to change the bitrate to 1000 kilobits per second, which is a maximum bitrate of LHDC 5.0. Now, every time you reconnect the earbuds to your phone, you're going to have to do this again. It just doesn't say for some reason. But once you've done all this, you're going to be getting a slight improvement in your sound quality. I was comparing Spotify to Tidal on my Nothing Phone 2, and even just using that high res with Spotify, you're going to get a slight improvement over SBC or AAC. So I compared it to Spotify on my iPhone 15 Pro, to Tidal 24-bit 96 kilohertz on the Nothing Phone 2. And again, it's a couple of percent improvement. When it comes to high res, there's so many factors, as you can tell, even how the song is produced and mastered. So some songs, there's not too much of a difference. Other songs, it's a couple of percent improvement, mainly with texture, resolution, instrument separation. It's a very small difference. If it's worth it for you, then go for it. My iPad just died. Oh, the screen case came off. We're all good. We're all good. This high res situation is driving me crazy. Anyway, moving on, single bud use is here. So you can use one earbud while you leave the other in the case. But when you are using one earbud, it's not going to work in mono mode. So if you're using just the right earbud, you're only going to hear the right audio channel, not the left or right. And pretty much all the earbuds on my ranking will do this. So it's not a huge thing, but I know some people do care about this. You're still getting multi-point connection here, so you can connect two devices to the earbuds at the same time. You just need to pause playback on one device before you resume it on the other device. So taking all of this into account, I'm giving them a score of 8.5 out of 10. And now bonus round here is gaming latency. These also use a low latency gaming mode, just like the Pro 2. So these are the results I got in my test on iOS and Android. Casual games, 400 milliseconds is okay. You do want to get closer to 200 milliseconds if you're into fast reaction games like shooters. Now onto the next category, call quality. And for all the earbuds, I run through 3 tests: a quiet room, simulation loud kids, and a simulation windy city. And the Buds 3 are getting a score of 8.5, slightly better than the Pro 2 in the windy city test. And like the Pro 2, you can turn noise cancelling or transparency on whilst you're on a phone call. Some earbuds don't allow you to do this, but you can only reject, answer, or end a call. You have no option to mute microphone on the earbuds. But here are some samples of the Buds 3 compared to the Buds Pro 2. Alright, here's the call quality of the OnePlus Buds Pro 2 in a nice quiet room. Alright, here is the call quality of the OnePlus Buds 3 in a quiet room. Alright, now we're testing the ability for the microphone to block out some simulation kid noise. Alright, here's the call quality of the OnePlus Buds Pro 2 with some loud simulation kid noise. Alright, here is the call quality of the OnePlus Buds 3 with some simulation kid noise. Alright, now I've got some simulation construction, city noise, and some simulation wind as well. Alright, here's the call quality of the OnePlus Buds Pro 2 with some simulation construction, city noise, and wind. Alright, here's the call quality of the OnePlus Buds 3 with some construction, city noise, and simulation wind. Alright, next category is app customization and extra features. And I'll quickly touch on all the features and go in more depth a bit later. So the app is called Hey Melody, and you can get it on iOS or Android. So you've got your battery life on the homepage, as well as your noise cancelling controls. Next, you've got your EQ customization with presets and a 5-band EQ. Just below that is Golden Sound, which is a hearing personalization test. Below that is OnePlus 3D audio, which is their spatial audio. Very good, by the way. You got your low latency mode toggle, multi-point connection toggle, and connected devices. You've got a simple earbud fit test, a Find My Earbuds feature, but this is only going to emit a sound from the earbuds. There's no location. You got your touch control settings tab on the bottom, and that's everything. It's a simple app. It's a decent layout. So I'm giving them a score of 8 out of 10. The Buds Pro 2 have some extras like a posture reminder, a Zen mode which plays white noise, and they also have noise cancelling optimization, but at least for me that doesn't do anything. So yeah, and you can only use spatial audio on the Buds Pro 2 on a OnePlus device. Now the next category is noise cancelling, and how I test my noise cancelling, I chuck on my soundbar and I'm playing simulation plane noise and crowd noise. So I'm getting low, middle, high, consistent, as well as inconsistent sounds. And I'm giving the Buds 3 a score of 5.5 out of 10, slightly stronger than the Pro 2 with a score of 5. So the Buds 3 were slightly better at blocking out that crowd noise. But here's my noise cancelling ranking with all the earbuds that I've tested. Keep in mind, this is a rough ranking going off what ear tips seal the best for me. So seal is very important to getting the most out of your noise cancelling. So the Buds 3 overall rank is 11th. So OnePlus, not the best at noise cancelling, but it's still pretty decent. As you go up each rank, it's not a huge improvement. It's like 5%, maybe every 2 ranks as you go up. And the higher ranked earbuds start to perform a lot better at those mid-range frequencies and higher frequencies. But you can adjust the noise cancelling strength in the app just like you can on the Pro 2, or turn on an adaptive mode, which will adjust the strength dependent on how loud the noise is around you, which can save you some battery life. What's still here though is a super slow automatic wind noise reduction. So with noise cancelling on or transparency, when the microphones pick up wind, it's going to turn down the noise cancelling strength, and then it takes about 10 up to 15 seconds for the noise cancelling to go back to the level that you had it at. So pairs like the AirPods Pro 2, Google Pixel Buds Pro, Bose QC Ultra, Galaxy Buds 2 Pro, they have a super quick and smooth transition in and out. It only takes a couple of seconds. But like the Pro 2, you can still use noise cancelling when you're using one earbud while you leave the other in the case. Now, when it comes to EQ shift, this is how your sound quality changes with noise cancelling on compared to transparency compared to noise cancelling off. So when you go from noise cancelling to transparency, it sounds pretty much the same. When you turn noise cancelling off, it's about a 5% increase in mid bass, and the treble is a bit cleaner. This is slightly improved over the Pro 2 because they would also shift from noise cancelling to transparency. And the main thing I'm looking for here is no shift from noise cancelling to transparency, because those are going to be the 2 main options that most people use. So good stuff on the Buds 3. Now let's talk about the transparency mode. So I'm giving the Buds 3 a score of 7. The Pro 2 have a score of 8. It's slightly clearer and it picks up voices a little bit better with slightly less occlusion. So there is a moderate amount of occlusion on the Buds 3 when you are speaking. So your own voice when you're speaking sounds a little bit muffled and not very clear. Same when other people speak, it could be enhanced slightly. And like the Pro 2, you don't get any customization of the strength of the transparency, but also like the Pro 2, they have barely any white noise hiss with transparency on or with noise cancelling on. But now onto the final and most important round, sound quality. And let's start with volume here. In my max volume test, I got 118.1 decibels, pretty much on par with the Pro 2, so both on the louder side when it comes to that max volume. And both also sound great at those lower volumes, the first like 1, 2, 3 clicks. Since we naturally hear less bass and treble at those lower volumes, it is boosted slightly here on the Buds 3 and Pro 2. They don't advertise a special EQ, which the Bose QC Ultra and QC2 have, as well as the Google Pixel Buds Pro. They both push out a lot more bass, but I honestly prefer the sound of the Buds 3 and Pro 2. They both sound the same at those lower volumes. But now onto the sound itself, you're getting the exact same driver setup seen on the Pro 2. And watching a few reviews before I got these buds, it seems like the consensus is they sound exactly the same as a Pro 2. But in my testing, that wasn't the case. And going back to the fit, this is going to explain why. Because of that more shallow fit on the Buds 3, I need to use the larger ear tips, where on the Pro 2, I actually prefer the sound of those with the medium ear tips. I get a bit of a cleaner sound, the bass is punchier. So if I use the medium ear tips on the Buds 3, I don't get a very good seal and I'm hearing pretty much no bass. So pretty much I can't compare them directly because of the different fit and how it works for my ears. I need to stop doing that. So it's hard to say for sure, but it's pretty close. I'm giving the Buds 3 a score of 8 out of 10, same as a Pro 2. So to sum it up here, it's just a great V-shaped tuning. Nice, tasteful amount of sub bass, but they don't lack in the mid bass department, which a lot of V-shaped tunings do. And something I personally notice is when the mid bass is lacking, you just lose a lot of depth with vocals and instrumentation, and it just doesn't sound as rich when the focus is only on sub bass. So a super nice balance here. Now the mid-range here is on the recessed side, but recessed to the point where vocals still come through clear. They cut through that bass very well, and male and female vocals still sound nice. They're just not as forward as pairs like the AirPods Pro 2, Bose QC buds, nothing Ear 2. I personally don't mind a slightly recessed mid-range. But the treble more than makes up for it. You get excellent sparkle and detail. So things like hi-hats and crashes just ring out very nicely. You get great detail with acoustic guitars and orchestration, and all this in a pretty open soundstage. Not the most open soundstage, but definitely up there. And you get great freedom to tailor the sound to your liking. You get some presets in there. You get a bass wave slider, which boosts the bass differently to the bass boost preset. I personally like having that just on one with the balance tuning, and it sounds really nice. And you can go crazy with the bass, chuck that all the way up to 3, and you're gonna be getting some pretty crazy subwoofer in your head bass. And the 5-band EQ in there also works great. You can really tailor these to make them more balanced or go crazy with the bass if you like. And on top of all of this, you can add your golden sound hearing test, which for me keeps the same tuning, just improving the overall clarity, instrument separation, and treble detail. But where the Buds 3 separates themselves from the Pro 2 is with their 3D audio. Pretty much spatial audio without head tracking. I'm not a fan of head tracking at all, so this is good for me. Now, like I said, I never tried the Pro 2 spatial audio because you need to use that on a OnePlus device, but that does have head tracking. And if you follow me, you know I'm not a huge fan of spatial audio, but this is some of the best that I've heard. I'm putting it just behind the Denon Pearl Pro. They're slightly better with their spatial audio because my main complaint with spatial audio is it adds quite a lot of echo and reverb and vocals, kick drums. Guitars sound very strange and echoey. And the Buds 3 still have a little bit of that, but it's not as bad as the rest of the earbuds that I've tested that use spatial audio. And it really does open the sound up quite immensely. It's like a very open soundstage. More open than the Denon Pearl Pro in terms of how wide the sound gets, just with slightly more echo, but it's still fun to play around with. And this is just testing with normal songs. So used with media specifically designed for spatial audio, gaming, movies, it's gonna sound even better. But that wraps up all 10 categories. And before we go into the final scoring, I've got 2 disclaimers. First, this is just my scoring system. It helps me track the countless earbuds that get released, and it makes it easier for me to review them and compare all the specs. But again, if you find this useful, you can use it to compare everything as well. And the second disclaimer is that the Buds 3 are by far the cheapest earbud on this ranking. I will be creating a new scoring spreadsheet with earbuds under $100, but like I said, I'm chucking them in here because they perform so well. And they finished with a final score of 78 out of 100, which puts them in the tied 4th spot with the Pixel Buds Pro. And that is seriously impressive for the price. Overall, they beat out the Pro 2. So if you're thinking of getting one or the other, go for the Buds 3. If you already own the Pro 2, probably not worth the upgrade unless you want that extra control. Now I'll leave you with some mini comparisons in just a sec, but to make it as easy as possible, this is why I created my custom scoring spreadsheet linked below to make it super easy to compare all the earbuds. I've got notes for each score, specifications, I added a call quality tab to compare the call quality nice and easily, and you can also customize the scoring if a certain category has more importance to you. So just fill out a number in the importance column, 0 to get rid of the score, 0.5 to halve the score, 2 to double the score, 5 to 5x the score, you get the idea. So that's free to download, link below, but now let's head into the direct comparisons. And I will start with the Soundcore Liberty 4NC because they're not on this scoring spreadsheet. Simple answer though, the Buds 3 are the better overall earbud. The 4NC has slightly stronger noise cancelling as well as wireless charging, but the call quality, controls, spatial audio, and sound is noticeably better on the Buds 3, especially when it comes to treble and soundstage. Now the Nothing Ear 2 has slightly stronger noise cancelling, also wireless charging, and it's a smaller earbud that is going to work better if you do have smaller ears. The call quality is super close, both have LHDC, hearing test, solid EQ customization, but the Ear 2 does have the more advanced EQ. The Buds 3 give you 6.5 hours of battery with noise cancelling on, where the Ear 2 only gives you 4 hours. So that's going to be a big one for a lot of people. And I personally prefer the sound on the Buds 3. It's a little bit more dynamic, where the Ear 2 gives you a slightly more balanced tuning out of the box. And the final comparison here is the Pixel Buds Pro. They are slightly more expensive, but close enough in price. They also have stronger noise cancelling, a noticeably better transparency mode, always on Google Assistant, wireless charging, and they also have swipe gestures for controls. When it comes to sound quality though, I need to give it to the Buds 3, especially when it comes to treble detail, and the bass is just a little bit richer with more punch. But the overall value you're getting here on the Buds 3 is just insane. They're going to be a pretty hard bud to beat. If you are interested in the Pixel Buds Pro though, check out my review here, and a quick shout out to my first channel member, Mike Evans. I haven't been promoting this, but it's an easy way if you want to support me, or you can support me on my Ko-Fi, which is where my spreadsheets are, linked below. And I really do appreciate all the support. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.